Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to PNN KEXU, Poor People's Revolutionary Radio at 96.1 on the dial in East Oakland and streaming live online at www.poormagazine.org/radio. This is Muteado Silencio con voces de migrantes en resistencia. In studio with former Houseless poet and poverty scholar Mikanala Tiny.
From budget genocide to the genocide of our relatives from Palestine to Turtle Island, holding in our heart the body of 1-year-old Cohen killed because of the lie of shoplifting on stolen land, holding in our hearts our relatives in all these settler spaces, and thanking you all, Poor People's Radio followers and listeners, for activating, liberating, and never giving up. This is PNN, not CNN, people.
From the violence of budget cuts to environmental racism in our poor communities of color, on today's podcast of Poor People's Radio, we speak with one of the warriors organizers for the People's Budget on the resistance of the well-hoarding mayor, so-called San Francisco, Yelamo. Where many of our Poor Magazine Frisco family live, to survive and thrive environmental racism. But first, we will listen to Ruthless Radio, survivors of the violent sweeps and homelessness right here in Huchun.
Well, I'm actually homeless. I'm by myself. I don't have no family. I don't feel like I do. And I just been staying wherever I can. You know, I don't have a job, so I can't afford a rent and things like that. So,
Where were you staying? Are you staying in cabin, in your car? Or?
I was staying in a car, and then they towed the car, and then we was a couple of friends and I was staying in abandoned school, and then they shut that down. Came and they kicked everyone out the school, and they promised them that they would promise us that they would have housing for us and everything. They didn't. They never did. They just kicked us out and then shut the door and left.
I'm a veteran, and they supposed to have been helping me out, but some situation has stopped them, and I've been sleeping on the street. And did an emergency at the VA clinic today because I've been having a cough and runny nose and everything for over a week, and it really be, as the doctor said, very helpful if I could get to a place where I could get some rest. You know, because I'm 71 years old.
And again, you know, a pleas for donors who to help us, you know, to help us get some of these funds so we can help folks. Like our brother said, it helps to be indoor, you know, a peace of mind, to be able to rest your head. So please help us so we can help other folks in need in this situation.
Yeah, you heard just some of the relatives who are showing up right now for the Poor People-led self-determination project, liberation project of Hopefulness Hotel Fund. We don't get no city money because we know that these settler governments have nothing for us. All they have for us is these violent sweeps, these violent evictions, and this privileging of scam lords while they criminalize our bodies for being outside. So yeah, we are coming to our community because that's all we got. If you are able to kick down any change for the Hopefulness Hotel Fund, we're unfortunately at the point where we have no more resources. We're having to turn folk away, and it's heartbreaking. So again, if you can, please support Homefulness Hotel Fund. I think the flyer's coming up. Lie of Rent Fund, we ran out of resources for that, but we're trying to build that back up to keep people inside. Yeah. And, this is a perfect segue to bring in our next guest, who's a warrior comrade on the fight against what I call budget genocide. Straight the F up. We have these settler governments right here in Uchun and Yalamu, that's so-called San Francisco, so-called Oakland, who get billions and millions of dollars to supposedly solve the homeless problem. Hey, what? I'm your homeless problem. How about that? And instead, they divert to police who continue to perpetrate and kill us. These coded words like public safety. And cleanliness, right? Talking about poor people like we trash. And in the end of the day, are deciding what to do with millions and billions of dollars. And more of us are outside. More of us are holding on by a thread. More of us have struggled to keep our jobs. More of us have struggled to just hold on. So we want to bring in our warrior comrade, who is on the front line of this fight by the San Francisco People's Budget. Yeah, you heard it, the People's Budget. How about that? Because at the end, it is the people's budget. How is it even collected, right? From the people. To talk about how these politricksters are stealing our money. Welcome, Raina, to Poor People's Radio.
Thank you, and good morning.
Morning. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, for folks who don't understand, what's going on in Occupy Delamu under this violence of this wealth hoarding mayor, Daniel Lurie, and what y'all are doing about it.
So just to lay a little bit of the information, the groundwork. This is the third cycle of the People's Budget Coalition, and we are made up of over 150 organizations citywide, ranging from every sector of service that basically provides service for a whole person. That's how we like to see it, right? We like to see the people's budget as the advocate for the whole community member. We're not just trying to get the community member housed or fed or educated. We're trying to take care of the whole person, right? And so that's been our approach this third cycle, has been not identifying as anything that will divide us, but we are all workers. We are all we're in need of medical care. We are all in need of mental health services. Basically, the things that unite us, because there is more unity than there is disunity amongst the people. And we are not going to allow for City Hall to pit us against each other this year, fighting for funds. We know that there are enough funds. They're just being mismanaged, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to quote unquote public safety as defined by City Hall. Defined as the people's budget, public safety looks like good paying jobs, having a roof over your head, having food, having everything that you need in order to be able to thrive in San Francisco or Yalamu. And so we've been mobilizing our folks to City Hall to show City Hall that we're still present, that we're not dormant, and we're not gonna accept anything that doesn't take care of everyone in San Francisco. And we've been kind of holding that line now for about 6 months. I want to say we started it before January, but January we really hit it hard. And we've just been, trying to educate the mayor's staff as to what they see as line items in black and white on paper, and really paint a colorful picture for them on what the impact actually looks like. Because you and I both know that data doesn't really tell the whole story unless you go out and look for the story.
That part. I wanted to show this little clip of the fight even for City College and how that's integrated in there. Go ahead, Tibu.
Rachel Morales. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I'm a single mother and a student at City College and a free city recipient between my degree in the diagnostics medical imaging program so that I could become an ultrasound technician. I'm not pursuing my academic dreams only for me. but for my future, my son, who just like me has a right to pursue his dreams when his time comes. I would like to introduce my mother, Crystal Morales. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to speak and share about our
That's
stories
great.
that are not just transforming the
Thank
lives
you.
of
Thank
our
you, Tivo. I
families.
just wanted to clarify with folks that this is a really beautifully broad coalition. I just want to, big ups to y'all. And when you look at it in terms of how do we care for all parts of our life, right? And I wanted to go back a step because and shout out to the City College Warriors too. Port Magazine's been supporting forever because that personally that place saved my life when I was houseless with my son, who's right here on the street, and we got free childcare and was able to get education and focus in a different way than just crisis. But I wanted to ask you again, Raina, when you talked about this, city defined notion of public safety. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Because to me, therein lies the rub, the BS, the politics.
Yeah, and I think I agree wholeheartedly with you on everything that you've said about what public safety is, and it's a perception of what safety is, right? It's the making sure that the sidewalk is clear of anything unsightly that's actually happening because of systemic disinvestment in our community. So they don't want to see houseless folks on the street, right? They don't want to see mentally um, ill or people going crisis on the street. So the solution has been, let's get more cops out there. Let's get more sheriffs out there. That's really been the idea of public safety. Where I think for community, public safety looks like more mental health services to help folks get out of crisis. Where public safety looks like having those training opportunities at City College, right? City College has some of the most beautiful programs, and I'll pick the floristry program that teaches you how to be a floral designer. It's one of a kind. It is the only program that does that for free, right?
Mm,
At City College.
mm,
And while that may be like not the most exciting career for some, it really does allow for some of these folks that are taking those classes. I've personally gone through that program. A lot of the folks in there, it was a way of sustaining yourself. It was a way of adding a side hustle to the job that you already have. Because as you know, real San Franciscans have to have 2, 3 jobs to be able to pay the rent. Especially when we're facing a 30% like raise in rents right now. The rent increase right now is ridiculous. And so yeah, public safety has looked like power washing the streets, which we need. We need sanitation for sure. We need folks that are out on the street to not be in filth, of course. But they wouldn't be out on the street if we weren't cutting programs. They wouldn't be out on the street if we weren't cutting shelter beds, right? And then what does the quality of the shelter look like? Is it congregate living or non-congregate living? What kind of quality of life are folks getting? And I think those are the gaps that we're not seeing the city get behind. Of course. Yeah.
exactly. Mota, did you want to add anything?
Yes. Well, just again, Reina, thank you for being here with us and standing for our people. Again, and just want to comment that it's almost the atmosphere is happening here in the United States right now. With the Cheeto on the White House, like these ultra rich corporate politicians, literally stealing from the regular, moms and pops and grandmas and grandpas and ta- and taking the little crumbs that are left, and not only doing that, but also these tricksters feeling proud. Feeling proud that they're gaining more money into their bank accounts, outright in front of the people. And so thank you for standing up and like my sister Tanya talks about too. Also, I feel that as freedom fighters, we have to call that out, and also ourselves that, like, we don't have to do that. We in this country they teach you that, they teach you, the more you have the better. All of this nonsense, nothing about being social and communal, about sharing the wealth of, in some indigenous tribes, man, back still homeland. It show how rich you are, or how many people and families you can help. It
Oh,
wasn't about how much you had in monetary or capita. uh, but can you say a little bit about, Reina, how we as a community, we have a responsibility to stay away from Amazon, and stay away from these monster signs. They're also taking away from our communities.
oh,
No, definitely. We were having this conversation after one of our meetings last week with our community members about investing in our local economy.
Yes.
Somebody came back from the store, and the tamale lady over on Onondaga and Mission now has a partner who, I guess, she knits and makes these beautiful shirts. And so before you knew it, we had like marched down the street, and we were now consuming from her stand, and we were getting champurrado and atole and tamales.
Yes.
And it felt so beautiful because we were out there not just consuming from them, but building community. And I want to say that that is what attracted people to San Francisco in the first place, is that sense of community, right? It's the vibrancy of the Mission with like people playing on the street. I mean, that's the San Francisco I grew up in. And that was what was attracting people to San Francisco, is that diverse, multicultural like feeling. And for most of us, that culture includes people, right? Like you were saying, it was about joy and sharing and spending time together. And I feel like we've been pressed up against this like need to make money to be able to survive here. And that vibrancy is disappearing. I hear it all the time. Let's revitalize the city. And I'm like, well, revitalizing the city would mean bringing down the rents so people don't have to have 4 or 5 jobs, so that we can hang out with each other, so that we can get to know each other. How many people here know their neighbors?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so that's the part that like we're missing. And I think that for community, it's really clear. Like once you start talking to community about these things, it's really common sense. I wanted to see if we could take a step back to the City College clip that you showed. That was a beautiful moment. Just to set some context, it was a City College student talking about, her wanting to improve her life for her son, and then introducing her mom, who was also a Free City College recipient, right? Who was talking about her struggle with her daughter who had just presented her. And it was such a touching moment because I could totally see the story reflected. My daughter is 14, struggling with her education. And so when she graduates, I hope to go back to City College. And I've had to take a step back. After a 22-year break, I went back to college, and then my mom passed away. So I took some time to really acclimate myself to being a real single parent. And we have every intention to go back. And there is absolutely no reason we should not be able to go back for free, because that has its own fund. San Francisco voters voted for this pot of money to go to City College to make it free, 100% free.
Thank you.
And that revenue is doing so well, they're even considering cutting it next year. So why are we cutting services at City College? It just doesn't add up. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 at City Hall. And so,
yeah,
I just wanted to point that out.
Appreciate you on that. And I do want to say that how is it that, community education, which we know is to go to working class and poor people like myself, is the thing that they talk about taking away, right? While they're bringing up incarceration and policing and all these other disgusting ways of criminalizing our bodies in this community, right? I just want to, we're running out of time, hon, and I need to close out, but I wanted to say really quickly, it is not lost on any of us who teach wealth hoarders about radical redistribution, that this wealth hoarding mayor does not have the people first. He has the monstrazons and the trillionaires and the Teslas first. I just wondered if you want to say anything about that as we close out, and then also tell listeners where they can support you. What's the next steps?
Well, let's start with your first question. I think that this administration is prioritizing tourism. This administration is prioritizing the wealthy and the people that they feel they want San Francisco to look like. I want to say that the People's Budget Coalition is focused on helping people remain in their homes and remain in San Francisco. And we're trying to keep the essence of what San Francisco, what that is. And then we want to expand on that. We want to bring community feeling back. We want to bring that unity that made us such a strong city and an example for other folks to follow. I want to say that the best way to connect with us is we will be turning out for public comment on Wednesday. And we will be there vigilant on Ad Back Night, which is Thursday. I would say social media is the best way to receive marching orders. Please, please, please follow People's Budget. And any call to action, we will be spreading out that way. That means call these elected officials and let them know that you know the truth, that there is enough money. We just have to we just have to disinvest from the things that don't help us and invest in the things that do.
Yes.
Ashe, there you go. That's it. Come unity, as I say, really is our liberation. So let's not at all walk away from this moment. I just want to lift up also all the warriors, Sister Junebug, and all the folks that we work with on Poor San Francisco, and you beautiful folks at People's Budget for recognizing whose budget is it?
The People's Budget.
Okay, that part. So much love, Reina. Thank you for joining us on Poor People's Radio. You always come back.
Gracias, Reina.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a wonderful day.
Talk to you soon. Follow, please, and support SF People's Budget. Show up tomorrow if you can. It's actually going to be a big day because there's a lot of other asks for tomorrow as well. So we'll be out there, and our next guest is going to talk about another call for tomorrow. I do want to say to listeners and viewers that in the violence that is happening in Occupy Delamu, so-called San Francisco, every day to sweep humans like we're trash. Don't be walking down San Francisco streets looking houseless, okay? As a houseless daughter and mama myself, I can tell you right now, it is a war on our poor people's backs. How are we going to get rid of the homeless problem? Anyway, leading to more of this policing, the violence of sweeping humans like we're trash. But in all of that, I want to lift up also that Homefulness Yalamu is trying to happen. And we're over there as poor and houseless people trying to build a solution. Come check us out. We're there at Cesar Chavez, 3390 Cesar Chavez Road. And we'll be having a design workshop with the people's architect that we're working with on what homefulness is going to look like. Because this is just all of us, fam. This is self-determination for liberation in action. We don't mess with the politricksters and their lies, but we also know that they control these city dollars that they're basically stealing from us. So having said that, we're about to bring in our next guest. Before we do that, I just want to ask Moot if you can talk briefly about the upcoming screenings. Shout out to all of our listeners and viewers from Occupied Devangar, LA, and also in Yalamu, two areas that are going to be dealing with Crushing Wheelchairs, the movie created by us for the rest of the world on the violence of sweeping humans like we're trash and eviction and gentrification.
Yeah, and again, because of the state of emergency that we're going through as houseless communities, folks living in poverty, this medicine is necessary, right? And so, yes, we're back at Tawangar, Los Angeles. We'll be there Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m. always starting, like we always say at these screenings, that this is more than a movie, a documentary. This is a ceremony. This is a
Ashe.
ceremony to honor these unsung heroes and heroes. They are portraying this movie, but also we know that there's a lot of houses, communities whose names go unforgotten. And again, we will want to show that we're uncles, there were aunties, that we were someone's daughter, there was someone's son, there was someone's grandma, right? That we have stories. The
Oh,
poverty is not the only story that we have. Unfortunately,
oh,
is what we're going through. You
Ashe.
know, because of the lack of the resource of the city. So please come in. Be with us if you're in the LA Tovangar area. Again, it's going to be happening Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m. And then we're going to be in San Francisco, right here in Yalamo. Then we're coming back from Tovangar and straight to San Francisco, Yalamo, Saturday, July 25th at 4 p.m. We're going to be screening at the Victoria Theater. Again, the Redstone Building. As some of you guys know, there's a lot of history of community organizing, of uprising from the Redstone Building. So, and I heard some good news. It finally, as has always has been, is a community place,
Ashe.
right? That the community
Ashe.
took over, or at least are winning that battle.
Ashe.
So please come and be with us.
Ashe. And just to add to that, the flyers coming up for Tavangar, excuse me, for Yalamu, Frisco. I just want to say that the other thing that this movie is about is folks. We know that folks who are outside come from all over Mother Earth, also crossing these false borders. This movie is also about honoring Luis Dimitri Gongora Pat, about honoring Stephen Taylor, killed in Walmart for the act of, basically having a mental health crisis, dealing with these police terror and this violence. But it's also a prayer, as my brother said. So come out and join us in San Francisco if you're there, and part of the beautiful Social and Economic Justice Film Festival on July 25th at 4 p.m. More information, you can just go to www.poormagazine.org. So, all of that said, perfect segue into back into Yalamu, back into Frisco, where I was houseless with my mama for most of my childhood, and then as an adult, been struggling, holding on. Shout out to Mama D, for without whom there be no me. But it also is an important other elder and ancestors that I want to shout out. The beautiful and amazing Sister Marie Harrison. I just so much love for Sister Marie. She used to come to Poor Magazine and speak on all of the mess that was happening in our poor and Black and brown communities, and specifically to Hunters Point, Bayview. We have the blessing of bringing in her daughter, another warrior, Sister Arlene Harrison, to talk about what's going on in the Bayview and what the resistance is. Welcome, Arlene, to Poor People's Radio.
Hi, Tony, how are you? Well, welcome to the movement. There's ongoing struggle and battle and generational that's happening in District 10. That's the southeast sector of San Francisco, formerly known as Bayview Hunters Point. By the day, it's changing, but if nothing changes, nothing changes. We still have the highest rates of respiratory lung disease and asthma amongst youth and adults. That's at 91%. And we have the highest rates of cancer, along with infant immortality rate, which is at a 98 percentile. That is almost 100%. And, the reasons for it are very simple. We have mobile sources of pollution and we have stationary sources of pollution. But there's only one place where you can get human exposure to radionuclides, and that is the decommissioned Navy shipyard. We have been treated ridiculously in Bayview Hunters Point, really shoreline communities across California. We are a community that's made up of the working poor, even though we have the affluent moving in, not knowing what's under their feet.
That part.
And that part. And the city has to do more than slap something green over it in order for us to survive this catastrophe. This is another generation. I'm here fighting the same fights that my forefathers and that my mother has fought. But what we are asking is to recognize our existence in this community. You know, it is a doggone shame what is happening there. With those kind of statistics, how can you paint District 10 green? And that's a discussion, a whole nother blown discussion for another day, according to Calvin Viral Screen. So right now, I'm looking and viewing District 10 and taking my mother's work to the next level. What I'm saying is that we need to view District 10 and what happens to it, what happened to its residents through a human rights and legal lens, because the human rights that have been violated in District 10 are notorious. You know, it is registered and has been registered historically. You know, it's an industrial zone. You know, nevertheless, for historically, people did not know that there was even a community that was living there. You know,
That part, yes.
and we've been
Exactly.
treated as such, as invisible people and disposable people. You know,
Mhm,
if
mhm,
according to the science, they say that we automatically have 15 years taken off our life expectancy from living in that kind of environment. And for the city to roll over that or try to minimize the exposure that has happened, that is transferable to human beings, is a shame. You know,
mhm,
I don't want another generation coming along suffering like we have. You don't, my story is not unique. You'll find that same story amongst long-lasting residents that have been there at Hunters Point, that always know somebody that's passed away of cancer and family members. You know, there's not a door that you can knock on where people don't have that same story. I refuse to
exactly.
believe that because black folks are the ones yelling the most about it. You know what I'm saying? That everybody else has not been affected. You know, we
Mm,
have residents that we have a multicultural you know, community. And so
mhm,
right now, and through AB 617 collectively, which I have the biggest AB 617 group they've ever seen and the most
mm,
diverse. You know why?
mm,
Because we because I know everybody, and I love all people. I don't care where they come from, if they're white, black, you know, Indian, Asian, or Mexicano, or you know, or Samoan. Here's the thing: they were able to successfully conquer and divide us amongst ethnic groups for decades. They would
mm.
meet with us, but they would meet with us, different, you know, have different meetings with each subgroup and tell them all conflicting different information. So what would happen? We would end up pointing the finger at each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
But
yep.
in that room and in that space, working on a clean air plan for District 10, the only way that that plan is going to be successful, because there's some good stuff in it, sister. We call it the book, right?
Mm, mm. That
the
part.
only way the only way is that that plan is going to be successful is that this city is going to have to fight for it. If we are the leaders in climate, you know, across the USA, and the rest of the country counts on us, then we have to expose San Francisco's dirty little secret. You know, where is
Exactly.
our legal representation for the people? You know, it's not supposed to
Exactly.
be that you when we vote and we vote for these officials to represent us. You know, they instead of representing us, they end up respectfully representing the government and keeping the government safe, right, from
Mm,
us with our tax dollars, right?
exactly. Can you wait a
We
minute? So I
need
know that.
somebody. We need
Oh, I'm sorry, hon. I just want to say I know that Brother Malik has
okay.
joined us as well. I want to give him a minute, but I just wanted to say back to you that you spoke on, the intentional invisibilizing, and I think it's really important to lift that up. Our youth scholars here just did a whole sequence on Cancer Alley, right? We know that mess has been happening, and then this fool, this trillionaire, which shouldn't even be a legal possibility that somebody's that wealth hoarded like that. But anyway, this trillionaire is trying to build more data centers, build more extractive AI violence right on top of Cancer Alley because, oh, well, there's not people there because they don't matter. So that mess, that's all over occupied Turtle Island, so-called United Snakes. We know that's a historic violence. So I just wanted to lift that up because this is not Bayview's not alone in this mess, unfortunately. And you are absolutely right. All kinds of people be coming up with cancer in the Bayview. My auntie got it, and she didn't speak about it. She just quietly, humbly dealt with it, and then she's passed now. And like a lot of our poor mamas. So I just want to lift that up. Go ahead, Malik. Tell us what you want to tell us. Oh, Malik, are you there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Just
go
let.
ahead. Malik, tell us if anything you want to add to the conversation. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for having me, Tiny. This. Okay, I want to basically just run over our 6 demands. So we issued a call to action when we first announced this rally that we were organizing in our collaboration with Green Action for Health and Environmental Justice. And we within our call to action, we listed 6 demands. And I talked to Ariane about them last night, and I might add one more that Ariane and I talked about. But let me run through them, and I'm not going to go into no deep description of them. I'm just going to list them, and if Ariane wants to expound in more detail, of course she can, because she's the boss. Okay, so here we go. Number 1.
You got it. You got it, Malik. Go ahead.
Okay. Number 1, we want health reparations for impacted residents. Okay. So for decades, and just we've seen this recently, Tiny, is that the U.S. Navy and the labs that they have been contracting have been saying that there is no definitive evidence that there's any health impacts from this radiation and these toxic heavy metals. This is a lie from the depths of hell. Ariane is a standing example. 7 different labs have shown that her body contains radioactive isotopes. Come on, man. I mean, she's a walking testimony to that. So we are demanding health reparations for impacted residents. And when I say health reparations, I'm talking about this, Tiny. Money, money, money.
Okay.
Next, number 2, independent community supervised retesting of the entire shipyard and impacted areas. And we can't believe what the oppressors tell us, Tiny. We need our own experts to come in and tell us exactly what the science says, because we can't trust them as far as we can throw them. Number 3, public funding for independent community experts with full oversight. Okay. And that's something else where we have our own independent community experts, people like Dr. Ahimsa Samchai, but we need others like her that can come in and say, this is what the soil sample says. This is what the water sample says. This is what the blood tests say. This is what the urine tests say. Okay, next, number 4, clean up to the highest protective standards for residential safety. Okay, because our bodies are Black, brown, Asian, poor folks, right? They don't care if our bodies are healthy. They don't care if the soil that they're developing on is healthy. Their mantra, Tiny, is profits by any means necessary.
Always.
Number 5, no transfer or development of contaminated land. Okay, and this is the thing. So, Tiny, if you read the San Francisco Chronicle, it was just on the front page the other day where they're breaking ground on the Candlestick project, huge multi-billion-dollar Candlestick project. But right there in the midst of that project, in a close geographical proximity, is Alice Griffith. There have been over 12 deaths at Alice Griffith's apartments since January. Nobody's talking about the rodent infestation, the cancer, the rising levels of cancer from the residents living in Alice Griffith. Nobody is talking about that. The Chronicle, none of the mainstream corporate media platforms are talking about those deaths, but they're talking about breaking ground on this Candlestick project, multi-billion-dollar. Come on, wake up, people. Number 6, long-term health monitoring and community investment. And this is something that me and Ariane have talked about at length. You don't get a chance to poison our community and then block us out of development opportunities. So you're going to poison us, and then you're not going to allow us to have a seat at the table and a piece of the pie? Okay. And the one more thing, and I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to get out the way. Ariane and I, we've been working with a journalist. His name is Greg Schwartz. Greg Schwartz has written a lot of deep investigative articles about the labs and the relationship between the U.S. Navy and some of these labs that they contract. And there's been a lot of scandals, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're asking is we want all of the public records from these labs. We give it to us. Let us see what they're saying. Let us see these memos, like these intercompany memos and emails, like they do. Like we can sunshine stuff for, San Francisco. There's a sunshine ordinance, right? And we can get emails and communications between the Navy and all that. We want all that. Give us the records. Let us see what's going on, because we're tired of you telling us that that our bodies are not being impacted by these contaminated soil samples, and that all of the research that Dr. Ahimsa Sumchai is not correct, when we know that she has been on top of it. My name's Malik Washington. I'm a coordinator for the Marie Harrison Community Foundation. Please come out to our rally tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon on the steps of City Hall. We need everybody. And most of all, we want the youth to come out, because it's your voice, it's your planet. What kind of planet do you want to live on?
That part. First of all, we're running out of time, family, and I just want to second the fact that please come out, please support. Again, it's going to be tomorrow. I know Youth Scholar T-Boo's bringing up the flyer over here. Our young people are absolutely dependent on Mother Earth. They're coming up in these places that are being poisoned, where our water is being stolen, where our lives are being, put at risk by the violence of corporate profits. So much love to you all for doing this. How can people follow you if they're on Instascam or Facecrack or any of the social? How can they support you other than coming tomorrow?
Well, you can tap in with me on Facebook. You can go to Marie Harrison Community Foundation on Facebook.
Okay.
I also have an Instagram page, and I'm obviously, my son told me that I'm very Googleable, so or go to www.canwelive.org. Malik has his own handle. He does on the spot reporting. He's a very pragmatic person on Instagram and all that stuff. He can tell you more about it than I can. Go ahead, Malik. Take it away.
Yeah. So like she said, you can reach us at www.canwelive.org. You can also check the stuff that I'm doing at Malik93761. That's on Instagram, or Instant Scam. I love that, Instant Scam, Facebook, all that. But on Instagram, it's Malik93761, and I'm constantly posting political content. I do a lot of political content and a lot of work that has to do with the Marie Harrison Community Foundation and the work that we do with young people in the community, the CLEAR Project, private air monitoring. We're for the people, all powerful people. Thank you for Magazine. Thank you, Tiny. Have a great day.
All right, family. We appreciate you so much. Arlene and Malik, come back, and we love you, and we appreciate you, and definitely all power to the people. Let's keep this fight up. Talk to you real soon, family. Just so listeners and viewers, again, if you're able to come out tomorrow to support both the People's Budget and our relatives fighting for the Bayview Hunters Point, both of these going on tomorrow. That's Wednesday, June 23rd, at San Francisco, so-called City Hall. And our bodies do matter. Our bodies, our voices, our lives, our time. Very important. Very important.
June 24th.
Oh, sorry, June 24th. T-Boo is correcting me because, as usual, I'm wrong. Today is the 23rd. Hello. It's all Gregorian calendar dates, okay? Whatever, with the 2-3 and the 2-4. But show up tomorrow if you can, family. We'll be out there for sure. And also, just reminding you all, please come if you're in occupied Tavangar, aka LA. Shout out to Edna Street Solidarity and all our warriors down there, LA Tenants Union and K-Town. We'll be there at this Eagle Theater, so-called Vidiots, which actually is Quentin Tarantino's theater, but we're not going to probably get any love from that bruh. But anyway, come out. It doesn't matter if you got money, ain't about money. Show up. There'll be food, there'll be ceremony, and there'll be medicine, cinematic medicine. And then if you're in the Bay, come out on July 25th at the Victoria Theater to be part of the Social and Economic Justice Film Festival. It's a powerful film festival with a lot of beautiful movies. from the people, by the people, for the people. And ours will be showing at 4 p.m. Please come through again. Ceremony, love, liberation. That's all we got. Thank you, family. Go ahead, Mo.
So that's all for this edition. Sorry, guys, I was yes. So that's all for this edition of Poor People's Radio. To get a complete podcast, you can go to Poor Magazine or on SoundCloud or at poormagazine.org or whatever you get your podcast from. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, Blue Sky, at Poor Magazine, at Poverty Scholar. To get the complete video podcast, subscribe to us at YouTube or Poor News Network channel on YouTube. Our power to the people.
Power.
Thank you, family.
All right, we love you.